going into Oklahoma on Saturday?
Yeah, it's the same mindset we've had the last 3 weeks. It's a clean slate. We can't really let the games before us affect this next one, And so after South Dakota, we didn't let that win affect us in Missouri. And it's just like after Tulane lost, we can't let that affect us going into Oklahoma. So just a clean mindset, coming in every day, working as hard as you can, and doing what needs to be done to give it our best shot this Saturday.
You feel like there's maybe a little bit more added juice considering you guys are coming off of a loss?
I'm sure there is around the locker room, but with that same energy, it's the added juice that comes with preparation, And so we had to take it every day, kind of day by day, and to really fine tune the details before Saturday.
Have you seen that motivation manifested in practice one on Monday?
Yeah, I thought we had a really good practice yesterday. We're going back. I just talked to Wyatt. We're going back to our fundamentals, and we're really going back to our game plan because Oklahoma is so multiple in their defensive fronts and their defensive coverages. And so it's kind of a double-edged sword in the fact that it allows you to, maybe look for a bunch of different things in game planning, but also it allows you to run your simple offensive schemes and go back to what we're good at, kind of. So,
describe your excitement over your first touchdown.
Very blessed to be there. I prayed a lot for that. I worked a lot for that. And so it was a long time coming, very old. And so I'm glad I got to be there. I'm glad Adrian got to throw it to me. I'm glad it was in that environment. Just wish it was a different outcome.
What's your message to Adrian to keep throwing the ball down the field like he did to you?
Yeah, no, I mean, he knows that all the receivers trust him, and all the receivers trust him, and we're excited for him going forward, and I think that he trusts himself going forward too. And so obviously the game didn't turn out how we wanted to. He didn't play the way he wanted it to, but he's not going to let that hold him back going into next week.
What would you say was the biggest issue when you went back and watched film with the offense in the last game?
Yeah, we just couldn't really get anything rolling. Coach Kleiman talked about it a lot, the pre-snap versus the post-snap looks and adjusting to that, and I don't think we did a great job of that. I think that on the outside we can block a lot better. I think on the inside we can do a better job IDing and keying points and everything like that. And so there's definitely a lot of little detail stuff that we can fix, and that's also looking good going forward because it's all fixable. It wasn't like they came out there and just manhandled us. It was all the detail stuff, it was mental stuff that we can go on the board and fix.
How much pride do you take in blocking as receivers?
You got to take pride, especially in an offense like this where you're going to run the ball and we're going to pound the stone. And so you got to take pride in it because those are the plays that spring big ones, And so when they get on the perimeter and they have those one-on-one blocks, if we can get a body in front of them and let them have a two-way go on that DB, it's definitely huge for this offense and it's huge for the explosive plays.
Was there a positive result of the analysis of the film from Saturday?
Yeah, there was. Not as much as we want, no, And so it's always tough coming in on Mondays and watching the film because you look at all the stuff you could have done better, and you look at all the little missed opportunities we had, and there was definitely too many to go out there and beat a good Tulane football team. And so there were some positives. We did do some good things. We had some guys open. Adrian made some good throws and everything like that, but not enough.
Kate, Coach Kleiman talked a little bit about how Adrian's maybe swung a little bit too far to being conservative, and he admitted the same thing. As someone who's been with him and worked with him as much as you have, what kind of resource can you be to getting him to maybe being a little bit more aggressive when those opportunities are there?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's just keeping saying in his ear and letting him know who he is and let him know the work he's put in to get to this moment, And so he's got to rely on the last 4 years he's had and the success he's had and the work he's put in to get here. And I think that he knows how talented he is. I haven't talked to him in terms of just asking him how conservative he really was. And so, but to hear him saying he was, I could definitely see it. But going forward, I do think that he'll have an added edge going forward to try to throw the ball downfield.
Thanks, Kate.
Defensive backs have been +7 in the interception margin. Mm-hmm. Do the wide receivers and defensive backs have any overlap in the training that you guys do to catch those balls?
Yeah, a little bit. But they're doing a great job. Our defense played really, really well this Saturday. Well enough for us to win the game, but we got to go out there and execute. But I'm really proud to see all those guys out there balling because we saw it all fall camp, getting those interceptions, and we're playing really well.
What's your dad's message been to you after a tough loss?
Yeah, I don't really talk to him a whole lot after the games, win or lose. We just kind of talk about the next week kind of going forward. So we don't really talk a whole lot about it, but at the end of the day, I've been through enough games, not wins or losses, where you can't let one game affect you, And so it's kind of that mentality moving forward where, yeah, we lost a tough game, and it hurts just like it should, but you can't really dwell on it too much.
Deuce leaves the game with cramps, gets an IV and comes back. What kind of does it say about his I guess, his resilience.
Yeah, I mean that kid's tough as nails. I think you guys seen it for the last 3 years now that he's taken hits and just got right back up every time. And so for him to come back from cramps, I didn't even know he had them halfway through the game because he just sat quiet about it, didn't make a big deal about it. And I saw him back in and with some tape over his IV spots and stuff. And so it's a very tough dude, and we all rally around him when he does stuff like that.
What's a key part of the defense that looks bothersome to you?
Key part of our defense?
No, the Oklahoma defense.
Oh, it looks bothersome? I wouldn't say any one part of them. I think they are a very complete defense. I think they do a lot of good things at all three phases of the defense, and whether it's up front in the linebacker core or the defensive backs in the back. And so they're a very complete defense. I wouldn't say one spot sticks out to me more than the other ones, but they do play fundamentally sound.
Thanks, Kate.
From an offensive perspective, have you guys been watching Coach Venables' defenses at Clemson and just before his time in Oklahoma?
Yeah, of course. I mean, whenever you're going against a team where there's a new coach, you always look back on the years they were before to kind of get a better scope of what they run in its entirety. Because in the last couple of games at Oklahoma, they ran a lot of different stuff, and so you want to get the best picture you have of what they're going to do on choice downs, third downs, blitz pressures, and everything like that. And so yeah, we have been looking at stuff from Clemson. We've been looking at stuff in the last 3 weeks, just trying to figure out exactly what they're going to run versus our looks.
From the perspective that they do a lot of different things, like you said, and they're very multiple, how much different does that make your guys' preparation every week or every day this week?
The preparation is much different. Like I was telling them, with the multiple stuff they do on defense, the game planning is a different vibe because when someone runs one thing, it's easier to key down on certain looks where you can run a certain play and beat them with this, right? But when they run a bunch of different things, you have to be prepared in your concepts to have answers to all those different concepts, and whether that's running 2 different concepts on either side that can work versus a corner off, corner pressed, or whatever it is, but you got to have answers to the multiple coverages they run.